Hello, and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host, Frank Pacino, and my partner in crime, Amanda Bryant. And today we are finishing up Big Brother 2, episode 28 through 20, or to 30. This is an
Finishing it out.
interesting one. Yeah, interesting one because 9/11 happened right around
Yeah.
this time, and they find out about it in the house. So we'll be talking about that just a little, and it's a little touchy go because of everything's going on. But it was definitely interesting at moments throughout the episodes. What'd you think of them?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. You could tell the overall feel of them was a lot more somber than if it were, if it were not to happen. You know what I mean? I could tell the show would have gone a little bit different direction, but that happening definitely impacted everything.
Hmm.
Just like when it did happen, it impacted everything. The show was definitely not, exempt from that. So you can tell that the overall feel of it was a little bit more somber, but Julie tried really hard to get it to focus on the game and not, not that.
Yeah,
But you can tell it overpowers it for
the first
sure.
episode they don't address it. They address it in episode 29.
Yeah.
28 was already edited and ready to be released before when everything happened, so they didn't have time to like get all that. So they
Right.
addressed it in 29. So we'll just go through the episodes like usual, and then we'll talk about it. Maybe talk about where we were at the time and all that. All
Yeah.
that. So we'll just start out with Will just evicted Hardy, and he starts talking about how he felt disrespected that neither
Mm-hmm.
Nicole or Hardy addressed him to when Julie gave them the opportunity. He felt like he was disrespected in a way.
He was disrespected, in my opinion. I do think so.
Yeah, I can see that, but I just think they didn't want to give them the satisfaction. They were butthurt, basically. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, super super bitter. This was
Hmm.
back when the jury was able to go home and watch everything that had happened. Because back then people recorded on VHS tapes. That's what my family. I know that's what my family did when they watched Big Brother. Was they recorded on VHS tapes. So if that's what their family did, they went home, was able to back watch everything that the show released, everything they said. Vice versa, and of course online chats. Have all the feeds and what people say and vice and all that good stuff. So information was very plentiful, and people got home, got to hear everything, and I think it definitely influenced how they voted, 100%. But then
Yeah.
if they were to be in a jury house,
Yeah. Will explains to Nicole why he voted out Hardy, and basically, what we went through last time. He was gonna win. He's the bigger threat. If he stays in the house, he's probably gonna win HOH, and there's a chance he might not take Will, and so he
yes,
didn't want to take that chance. And he knew he had a better chance against Nicole. No matter what he says in the diary room, he plays up a character. Come on, we all know this.
yeah,
So he knew
he
what
loves being
optimal
evil.
move.
Will for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah. He knew what his optimal move there was.
right?
Um, Nicole or Monica's like, I wasn't surprised by his decision. Well, yeah,
Right.
no shit. He pretty much said he was gonna vote him out eventually.
Hardy going, leaving Nicole, Monica, and Will in the house. Nicole has beef with Monica a little bit. They're just a little. They just not necessarily beef. They just rub each other the wrong way. Sometimes they get on each other's nerves easily. And then Nicole has that kind of same thing with Will. And then Will and Monica have always kind of been, a not super super close, not like even close. So it's an awkward final three for them all to be together because they all can rub each other the wrong way, and we see it happen throughout the episodes. But Will's not going to change the way he acts. Period. He's going to be, you know, his
Yeah.
himself or his goofy self, evil Will self until the end of the show.
Will does start to work on Nicole and said, I'm gonna take you. You just gotta take me. Da da da. And he starts putting in the effort with Nicole. He
Yeah,
knows he needs to go to the end with Nicole, and he's trying to make it to the point that she needs to go to the end with Will,
yeah.
which is true because everybody
Monica
loves
would beat
Monica.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's gonna want. This is a different show. It doesn't matter how well it. It did, but they were gonna vote Monica because they liked her pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
because her game wasn't all
And
that
her family
impressive.
was affected by the 9/11
Yes, yes, yes. She
happenings.
would have for sure
So
that would have definitely weighed an extra vote or
yes,
two if someone was on the
absolutely,
fence. So it
absolutely.
Nicole does try to throw Will under the bus to Monica, but she doesn't even. It's like, girl, I don't even.
It's on.
It's on.
It's on.
She does.
Love it.
She's just like, yep, yep, yeah. She's like, I'm just nodding and listening. I'm not. Even, I don't even care what she's saying. But like, even though she's pretty much telling her the truth, like, yeah,
Yep.
Will's doing this, and that's true.
He knows what he's doing. He's working his way, and he's worked
Hmm.
his way with Nicole this whole game. He's, been putting bugs in Nicole's ear this whole game, almost pestering her to the point of like, you have to trust me, you have to trust me, you have to trust me, you have nobody else. And with him doing that with so much with her, she's believed it and embraced
Right,
it.
right. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much it. Nicole does state that if
Mhm.
she wins HOA, she's for sure sending Will out. But we all know that's just her. She's just upset because Will outsmarted her. That's
Yes.
basically what it is. And Nicole does try to set up a final two with Monica. She really doesn't commit to anything, and which is
No.
this is where a good player, if Monica was a good player, she'd be like, yeah, babe, I got you. Don't Let's not let that dude win. Let's take it, girl
Yeah.
power, or things like that. Like if Monica just put a little bit of effort as much as Will did, there's a chance that she probably could have won the game.
I think that Monica was just suffering from lack of knowledge of the game. You know what I mean? This was the second season. I think if you would have taken Monica and put her in like season 7, not all stars, but you know what I mean? Just like
Mm,
later on down after a couple games have been out and people know how the game is played, I think Monica would have done way, way better. I just think that she didn't understand the game 100%. She didn't like lying. She didn't like alliances. She was kind of like a Rudy in a way. So it's like if she were to just understand the game a little bit better, I think that she would have done way better.
yeah, oh, maybe, but I don't know. I just don't know if this is the game for her.
No.
But
Put her on Survivor.
I feel like it would be worse.
You think so?
Hmm. I feel like she'd be somebody that, like, you need one vote. You would never get her vote if
Right.
it's not according to the plan that she
That's
wants.
true.
She's somebody is if I was gonna play Survivor, especially Survivor, I'd want somebody to be more flexible. I'd
Yeah.
want my partner in crime to be flexible with me
Voting. We
to be able to
learned
do
in
something.
Survivor that voting blocks are usually the way to
Hmm.
go. So you have to be
Especially
flexible and
nowadays.
change. Yeah, you have to be flexible to change those. Change those alliances and change those voting ways at least for a couple weeks or even 1 week sometimes. Whatever is going to get you farther, whatever's going to help you in
Hmm.
the long run, especially if you're not getting blood on your hands,
Hmm.
which is sometimes easier said than done, as we know.
Hmm. So we get to the luxury and the food competition, and basically they have to stand there with like baskets full of either
Yeah.
bags or food, and they hang out for 30 seconds. They get what they got in the basket. They hang out for another 30 seconds. They get to pick out one more prize. It is pretty
Yep.
boring. Um,
It was funny though. Will was holding his baskets out, and Monica was like, "How do you do?" And he's like, "Not good,
not good.
not good." She's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. So Nicole and Monica loaded up with gifts in their basket.
Yeah, the ready to
Uh
eat.
and Monica is the only one that didn't do the extra 30 seconds. Will and
Mhm.
Nicole both did.
Right.
So they win. Yay. No peanut butter
Yay,
and
food.
jelly. So
We're almost done. Who
they go
cares?
open they open their presents, and Monica and Nicole are opening a ton. They're
Yeah.
like, woo, Monica gets a cool voice changer. Did you ever have one as a kid?
Yeah, I saw them at Five Below. they're little like they're little like horn machines you like hold to your face or whatever. And
Oh.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. They
uh
said it on there. They're like, these gifts are cheap, crappy
happy
gifts.
gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is like from what I've heard about, like CBS is totally fits suit.
Yeah.
Their cars and
Especially
everything. They've
nowadays,
done.
especially back then.
Oh yeah, especially back then.
So
Their budget wasn't as high.
Nicole really wanted a portable DVD player. It was all the rage,
I used to have one of those
apparently.
when I was a kid.
I
I used to
think I
watch it
had
on the
one too.
bus.
And so Nicole didn't get it, and guess who got it? Oh, your favorite
Well,
doctor, of course. And Nicole just freaks out. She's like
pissed.
in a pity, like, I never win anything. I'm never gonna bring anything home to my husband. Duh, duh, duh. And then I was like, she's such a poor sport. Like,
I
shut
know.
up.
Will's like,
Like, holy
whatever. Who
crap.
cares? I just got a poor DVD player that he probably doesn't need.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, honestly, there's a chance might have gave it to her if she wasn't such a whiny baby all the time
Yeah,
about stuff.
agree.
So it's just it was that yeah, that's what it is. They do talk about how the house is empty and it feels weird.
Yeah. They started with
How
12 people. That's a lot of people to live with. Imagine, I mean, like, imagine like going on family vacation with 12 people and then only 3 people by the end of it. That's,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. So like when like they're never alone. Like one person goes in a room, the other two follow. Basically,
I
they said it
know.
was weird and quiet, and they mentioned the table too. I do like this.
Yeah.
I do miss this about Old Big Brother is seeing the table change. I, they don't
They still do it,
they
don't
see
they?
no they
They did
don't
it in
make it.
20.
They didn't show it. No,
Really? I
not in the
thought they did.
show.
Oh,
I do love it when they add it to the show and it's like
me
like
too.
they
It's
get
like
in there like oh
noticeable.
my god that table.
I love it too.
I don't know why, but I just enjoy
I
it
do
so
too.
much.
It's just cool to like they like
Yeah,
magically do. You know what I mean? They like have the
yeah,
table like in the shot and they're like do do do
yeah,
do, and then there's like a new
yeah.
table there out of nowhere. I love that. It's such cheesy editing.
Yeah, so cheesy. So that pretty much sums up 28. Not much from
Yeah.
it. We really didn't get much from
We
28.
covered it for like 10 minutes though. I mean,
Yeah, that well, we pretty much told everything in 10 minutes.
yeah,
We get to episode 29, and this is where they start out talking about 9/11. They bring Monica in by herself originally and tell her
yeah,
because she has a cousin named Tabitha that works there. She did go to work, and to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure she did not make it out. They
yeah.
never
I'm pretty
found
sure we
her.
didn't make it.
Um, and so they told Monica and Will, or not Nicole and Will, after they told Monica, and it was very jarring. And you definitely seen, like, definitely Will the person change over from Will the character
Yeah,
right in that moment. He definitely like it was just. I remember where I was. You remember where you were?
yeah, yeah. I do.
You were in
I
school,
was
weren't you?
in I was in fourth grade.
Me too.
Yep, fourth grade, and we did have a television in our classroom. So
Mhm.
I do remember us getting because like my middle school had like the intercom system, you know what I mean? So like the main office would have like a message and they would put it on the intercom and you could hear it through all the classrooms
Mhm.
in the school. And I remember them coming on the intercom and being like teachers, I don't remember the exact message, but it was like teachers, like we need you to stop all lessons. And I need you to like it was like they had to get on a chain phone call on like the wall phones, you know, the ones that had like the rotary things or like the keys that you'd push to get to different classrooms. And teachers in my school had like a classroom buddy. So like or like a teacher buddy, you know what I mean? It's like teachers would partner with other teachers type of thing.
Mhm.
And they had to call their teacher buddy and get the information. So like the principal would, you know, push down the information and call their teacher buddy and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So my teacher was on the phone. My teacher was on the phone for a while. Like I remember remembering like being on the phone for a long time. And then she got the phone and she was really good. I had a great fourth grade teacher. She was really good. She, you know, she's like, oh, okay, you know, she's like, we're just gonna take a break. You know, she's like, everyone's gonna stay in the classroom. She's like, we're gonna turn the television on. She, you know, she told us she was like, there's been an accident because nobody knew what it was at that point in time. You know what I mean? It was just like, you know, it was still up in the air of what happened. She's like, there's been an accident, you know what I mean? And we need to watch the news right now. And that's pretty much what it was. And we sat there and watched the news and then they pretty much I think it happened in the morning, didn't it? It happened in the
Mhm.
morning, and I think they let us out early, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly. Because I remember going home, and I remember watching it. My parents watching it on the news all night long.
Yeah. I remember the teacher and everything, Miss Warnke, and we actually my somebody's birthday was that day, so we were just talking about like what we're doing for her birthday, and then like they made the announcement of the intercom. You know, teachers give us they're like turn the news on. They didn't even tell I'm from my recollection, they didn't even tell the teachers what was going on. They just told turn the news on.
Till the news on.
And then we turned it on and I'm fairly certain we all got sent home, you know, because like we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure my mom and dad came and got me. And my mom didn't have to work or called in, or I'm pretty sure a lot of people called in that
A
day.
lot of people probably let go of work
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
because like my dad works at the hospital in my town, and he's kind of like the hospital's mailman. He like delivers everything. And my dad was one of the my dad is one of the only people that work at the hospital that is required to have a cell phone
Mm,
on him because he's never in the building. He's always like
yeah.
delivering stuff, you know. And he remembers hearing it outside the hospital, like delivering somewhere, seeing it on the news, like breaking news, and he went back to the hospital and told his boss, and he was one of the first people that let the information in to the hospital that what was going on, and then the news spread
That's
like
crazy.
wildfire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely something crazy.
it's a 20-year anniversary this year. If you
Yeah,
didn't know,
yeah,
yeah,
it's something
hmm
crazy that like something that I'll never forget. Like we were both in fourth grade. Remember the day, like it
yeah,
was yesterday,
oh yeah,
and it's just something that impacted everybody in the world, not just our country, the world
no,
as well. So
changed everything. Changed the way that
yeah,
we flew. Changed the way
hmm
that you
hmm
know everything
yeah,
changed from then on out, and that was right when Bush was elected president, I believe. I think he was elected president right before, um, or yeah, right? Or not, maybe not elected. Maybe he was there for like a year or so, or whatever the case was. But I remember him being a newer
president
president.
stuff. Don't ask me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I
could barely
remember him
remember
being
the
on the news
president we
though,
have now.
talking about it. That shit was crazy, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I
definitely
do
nuts.
remember. If you guys remember, let us know where you remember, because I
That
mean,
was crazy.
I know that
Um,
everybody that's at least around our age, I mean, maybe a little, maybe even a little bit younger. My brother was
or
like 2
older.
years old, so he doesn't remember. But
Yeah.
mhm.
So, but yeah, they tried to move back to the game
Yeah,
after they console Monica.
they
Like
tried. Julie
Monica,
tried really hard. She
yeah,
did.
yeah,
Julie tried super hard to.
Monica's tough too. She showed how strong-willed she was, and
Yeah,
she got to talk to her family within the diet room by getting messages from them. And she told her, don't worry about me, guys. Worry about home. I'm almost
yeah,
done. I'm gonna be home. I will be fine. Take care of everybody there. So
yeah.
she's very strong, and it was definitely
I bet Monica was shook when she got out of that house, because she got out of
yeah.
that house like right after it
hmm
happened, when everything was still crazy. So,
mm,
you know what I mean? It's like going from, you're locked into, pretty much essentially a couple rooms for 3 months, then you get out in the real world and everything hits you at one time.
yeah.
I'm not surprised Monica was the way she was during tribal council, because she had a lot of emotional trauma going on.
Yeah. So we
Yeah,
get to after that we get to see the jury members and some of their lives outside of what's been going on. Cheryl's got breast
breast
cancer,
cancer.
and she
Hmm.
found out shortly after she was evicted. So she said
Yep,
it was a blessing in disguise. They caught it fairly early,
yep,
and she started treatment with that. And so she at first she said she was very disappointed, but everything's happened for a reason, and this is my
right.
reason. So Kent, we find out he quit smoking still. He's still not smoking. Good for him. And
Hmm.
he
He's
doesn't
probably
like,
changed the least outside the house. Like he went right back to his normal life. Autumn, I'm like focused on like weight control, and she got engaged to her boyfriend, so she's just doing her own thing, trying to
which
sing.
is weird, right? Because she was like trying to hook up with all the dudes there.
I know, I don't get it. Whatever. So trying to hook up with dudes, and there was Krista. He was trying to get it, who with Boogie, and then she
And
got out of the
Justin.
house, and I guess like she was like trying to focus on like getting famous off of. She like literally admitted it in the video. She was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on like the fame of this."
Yeah, and try to keep it
Didn't
up.
work.
No. The, we find out Boogie is still doing his Boogie thing at the bar, living life. He's like, aren't you that one guy who was locked in that house?
Yep. Bunky sold his husband. I mean, everything's. I mean, it was just like a recap of like what everyone's doing, where everyone's at.
hmm
Talked about Shannon. Different
Oh
jury
yeah.
members. Trying to get you to
Yo,
meet the other jury
she
members.
literally
Yeah.
was just spending a week with her boyfriend.
Well, she pretty much broke up with them. She pretty much low key admitted. She was like, "Yeah, I low key admitted. Pretty much she low key admitted to breaking up with him just to get back with Will." And
hmm
then we see her at the reunion later with Will, and she's all lovey dovey. So
Yeah,
they dated for a couple of years after that season. I don't know if you know that
hmm
or not.
yeah, they did.
Mhm.
Uh, they talk about it in Big Brother 7. Well,
Ah,
she comes back on and talks about it in Big Brother 7. Who else are we missing? We missing Hardy.
yeah. I said,
Hardy's doing
oh
Hardy
yeah,
things.
Hardy. Yeah, he's back with his girlfriend
Yeah, no one likes
Monica.
him.
Has got a lot going on.
Well, Monica's not out of the house yet.
Right.
Yeah. So so Will starts discussing what he would do if he wins HOH, and he's like, he pretty much said that he doesn't care if he wins, if he wins.
He knows that he's got the other. I think he knows that the girls aren't going to go against him. I think
Mm-hmm.
he knows he's good either way, that he's going to make it to the end either way. So he's focusing now on what he's going to do to win.
Mm-hmm.
What he's going to say while he's there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to like going over more jury conversation, talking about
Yeah.
what they want out of life, what they're gonna do moving forward, yada yada yada. And we get to the end of the HOH competition. So the HOH competition, I forgot to mention this last episode we did. It's different than what it is modern, where in the modern day you have part one winner of part one goes to part three, and then the two playing part two. In
Yes.
this one, they have point system, and the top two in part one and two combine with their points, move on to part three.
Do you like it that way?
Um, I think the part one and
Okay.
part two I prefer.
Both are fine ways, I
Hmm.
feel like. But yes, I think I prefer part one, part two as well.
Yeah. So part two was a weird obstacle course, kind of, where they
Yeah,
had to
that's
go
what you
do
call it.
tasks in the house
Yeah.
and do check marks. The first task was
They
toast
were
bread.
trying to go as fast as they could. They
They
really
had
were
six
getting to
minutes.
them. Yeah.
6 minutes to do 7 tasks. The
Yeah.
first one was toast bread. They had to pick up towels. They had to pull the shades down in the house guests in the order that they were evicted in.
Yep.
They had to at the end they eat peanut butter and jelly sandwich with
Chunky peanut butter, not
yeah,
creamy.
yeah, they made a
Yeah. I
big deal
smash.
about
I
that.
love crunchy peanut butter. It's better than
With
creamy.
no
You're a creamy fan?
creamy, creamy, creamy.
What? You don't like crunchy peanut butter at all?
Mm.
I want extra chunky crunchy peanut butter. It's better. I want to like crunch on the peanuts in there when I eat
And
my
they
peanut
and they had to
jelly.
clean the windows outside. It
Yeah.
was pretty silly. This is like one of
Low
the
budget,
yeah,
guys.
really,
Remember?
really bad. This is a
Yeah.
really bad comp, in my opinion. Will got 5 out of 7. Nicole
Yeah.
got all 7, and Monica got 6 out of 7. So by the point totals, it ended up with Nicole at 11, Will at 10, and Monica at 9. So Will and Nicole move on to the final
To the
HOH
final
part.
round. Yes.
Yes. And it's basically kind of what they used to. I don't know if they still do it. Did they do it? I can't remember.
What?
Where they ask the jury questions, and then or not questions. They ask
There's
them questions about
there's
the house in general.
there are some seasons they do it. I think they do it all seasons.
No, it's
I
different.
don't think
I
they
think
do it all
it's
seasons. I do remember
mm,
them doing it though. A lot of seasons they do it.
yeah. So basically, it was like generic questions. Pretty simple,
Yeah.
most of them. Like I knew them, but
I mean,
this
Nicole
is
got
only
all of them right.
hmm Will got
So
one wrong, and it was the one
yeah,
question. The question was, who stepped out of the car first in the very first food competition when there was 12 people, and they both just guessed,
yeah, they
and she
couldn't
got
remember
lucky and
who
got
it
it right.
was.
Got boogie, yeah.
They might
The
have
other
not
car,
even known ever.
no.
No.
Nicole said that. She said, "I just guessed. I didn't know for
Yeah, I
sure."
didn't know.
So she ends up winning the HOH, and they did discuss like throwing it
And
to
they
each
said that
other.
she's got to vote someone out right now. That
Yeah,
was the.
yeah.
Mhm.
Beforehand, they did discuss about them trying to throw it, and Will's like, "Do you want it? I'll just throw it to you." And Nicole's like, "I don't want it. I'll just throw it to you." And then,
He convinced her though that she didn't want it.
uh,
Because she didn't, she was gonna go. She was like, maybe we should just both try since
yeah.
none of us want to do it. Like she wanted to win it, but she didn't want Will to know that she wanted to win it,
So
even though Will already knew she wanted to win it, and he was convincing her to throw it because he didn't want her to try and take Monica.
yeah. So well, Nicole ended up
Reverse
winning,
psychology for
and
sure.
she goes into the diary room, and Julie asks her some questions, and she's shaking and nervous, and she goes out and tells Monica, or tells the, hey, I got to take it one person. I made a promise to my husband that I was gonna come back with something, so I have to take the person that's gonna give me the best chance to win. So I'm taking
Well,
you, Will. I'm voting to evict you, Monica. And Monica was like, oh, she like lit her up on the way
yeah,
out.
pissed,
Like she's like, "Oh,
pissed her
you're
straight off.
disgusting, da da da," all this stuff. It's like you reap what you sow and all this stuff.
Terrible things. It's
Just like,
on.
yeah, it's on. And then well, she's like, well, outside this, well, it's on. Don't worry, it's on after this. And
Yeah,
like, and Nicole's like looking like, what did I do wrong? Like,
you knew
she
I was gonna
like
do
Nicole.
that.
Look, I'm not like I've said not nice things on Nicole because she's warranted. Here, she did nothing wrong.
No,
she did what she was the
She
best
did what
game
she
move
was
for
supposed
her.
to. She played the game. She played the
Yeah,
game and voted somebody out, and she made the
yeah,
decision that she thought was best for herself. And I don't.
yeah.
I'm not going to fault her for
No,
that.
and Julie even asked her about it. And she's like, "Oh, she's just not gonna get my vote. Why? Basically, she was bitter. She was bitter
Better.
that Nicole voted her out
She was very
and put her
bitter.
up her and Krista. Her
Yep.
and Krista were both just bitter towards Nicole.
Yes.
And it was just, yeah, bear jury. I can say it's bitter. We get to episode 30, and it's the final episode.
Yes.
They actually go through like the first days of Will and Nicole's game, which was kind of cool to see a flashback
Yes.
of everything.
See a
I
flashback and see what trouble they were in. Will was on the
mhm,
block more than anybody else at 3 times. And then, Nicole was at one point in time the for sure first vote to go home.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely prefer older Big Brother the way they handled the final episode than newer. I don't care. I don't need it to be live. The jury gets better
The
questions
jury.
if it's not live. They
Right.
get to talk and discuss more if it's
I
not
don't like a
live.
live audience sometimes because they just
Yeah.
eat up time. A live
Mhm.
audience sometimes just, with the yelling and the screaming and the shout outs and everything. The audience sometimes can interfere and run time down. So I'm not really crazy about a live audience. I
I
mean, it's cool for the
definitely
fans or whatever. Like the fans get to go and see it or whatever. That's awesome. But
I definitely
it just
prefer to
ruins the
record it.
time.
I want the jury question recorded every season because
Right.
it hurts the gameplay. We see that in 20, where
Mm-hmm.
Tyler was constantly running, couldn't explain himself because Julie was like, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, you need to finish up. It's like,
Right.
bro, like if your moves are so subtle, you have to explain that. If you don't have time to explain that, how are they gonna know about your subtle
It's for
moves?
$500,000. Like, let
Right,
them explain their fucking game. Like, give them
right.
time to think about what they want to do and say. Like, I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah, I love this portion where the jury all gets together, and it's like this awkward silence for like a second.
They call it the voting room. Is that what they called it or
Yeah,
something like that? The
yeah.
jury room or something. It was so funny.
And people were still pissed at each other in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Boogie was mad at
Oh yeah,
Bunky.
they were like yelling at each other, and then
Yeah,
Hardy was yelling at who was Hardy yelling at?
was it Boogie?
Was it might have been Boogie too?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Krista, was upset. Monica was upset, and Shannon was still a little bit arguing, and she did say she's like, Bunky, you like I was disappointed about the way you acted to me about my diary room. And it's just he's like, well, you deserved it. And that doesn't like Bunky, you can't have it both ways. You can't say
No,
you're this sweet, innocent person and she deserves that. And then but
but she didn't.
when you act that way, just like her, you deserve that same criticism.
Yes. The
You
jury
can't
was a
have one
horrible
both ways.
jury of getting of coming together and trying to make a decision. It was
Yeah,
terrible. They couldn't even talk.
they argued for like
Argued the
10
whole
minutes.
time. Yeah.
And it's just they finally get to talk to Will and Nicole.
Yeah.
Now Will and Nicole don't get to see the jury, but the jury gets to see Will and Nicole.
Yes, and they get to ask them questions. Which, if
Mhm.
you even called it asking them questions, a lot of it was just stupid comments.
Yeah, I think let's see, like Nicole got some mean questions.
Yeah.
She got one from Monica. Was like, "Do you even?" Or no, it was Krista. Do you even believe in a higher power? Are you even religious? Da, da, da. And then
Who says shit like that?
right, and then Boogie asked, like this one was well served. Boogie asked, like, "What would you say your most evil moment was?" Besides, because you said Chilton was evil, and then you when you did evil things, what would you say your evil moment was? She's like, I wouldn't say I was evil. That's you're missing the point.
You're missing the point. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to give up your game that, you made the move. You made the
mhm,
evil move. That's what he's
yeah.
asking you to do.
And Boogie complimented her a lot, more
Yeah.
than anybody else, even Hardy. And so, like, he was giving her props, but
Yeah.
she didn't catch the hints where people wanted her to go.
She definitely bombed her final. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like in the sense
Well,
of like,
Will didn't do much either, to be fair.
no, but Will already knew that Will did the work in the house versus
Mhm.
outside the house in the jury. You know what I mean? Of trying to convince a jury when it was final time. When it, what do you call it?
The final speech.
Final speech. Yeah.
Jury questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes. So we get a couple of generic questions, you know. Boogie's like, "Will, you showed me so much loyalty." Crystal's like, "Oh, you sold us out. Do you feel bad?" He's like, "That's my biggest regret. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
those things, but it furthered me in the game, and that's why I'm the evil doctor." And he owned up to his shit, and people like Monica respected that
Yes.
because he flat out said, "Hey, I'm gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna backstab you," and he said it to
He
the
warned
face.
you and you didn't take him seriously. And if you
Mm,
trusted him, even when you probably, it's a game of roulette at that point in time. He can be
mm,
trustworthy, but he can also not be trustworthy. Which side of the pie are you on? You
mhm.
know what I mean? And he was only loyal to Nicole, hence,
Yeah.
why Nicole was at final two with him. I would say Boogie too, but Boogie
Mhm.
still went home, and that was one of the only votes that he voted off on.
Yeah. Monica is super bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Krista is still super bitter towards Nicole, and it's just like there's a lot of bitterness in the jury, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. So, after watching the season, do you think Will still played the best game?
Yes.
See, I feel like Nicole played the better strategic game,
Mm-hmm.
but she failed in the social game,
Yes, I agree. I
and she
agree.
and
And
she
I
failed.
think that Monica failed in strategic, and she failed probably. I wish that Monica, like I said before, I think that Monica just struggled in playing the game. I just don't think
Yeah,
she knew exactly how to play the game. She didn't want to lie. She didn't want to go, against people that she trusted. She was in an alliance, I guess, when she was in alliance with Hardy, but how seriously did she really take it? You know what I
right.
mean? Like, she
Yeah.
didn't make any plans on her own. She was HOH one time, and she just did exactly what her alliance wanted her to do.
Right. And I feel like Nicole failed where like Paul failed in owning your
Yeah.
shit at the end. Own your
Yep.
shit. And
Own your shit.
that's the one thing Will did better than her is that he
Yes.
said, "Yes, Nicole, yes, Shannon and Boogie, I'm sorry I did that." And
What
that
I'm impressed
caused you
about
guys to go
is that
home.
Will is able to play this way again 5 years later. I really
He
thought that this
plays
would be
better
he plays
in
better,
five
but
years.
I really thought that this would be like a one-time type of game for Will, and he ends up playing an even better elevated game of this later on, which
The-
we'll get to
He
later
he
on. But
arguably he arguably in that game made two mistakes where he didn't win. That's why he didn't win it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And that's it. And the
yep,
crazy thing, like
and
it's
he has
just
showmance.
and his showman, and he was the only winner on the cast.
Yeah,
He really flat out thought he was gonna be evicted in the first
literally.
couple weeks, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why at first he didn't want to be there, and then he's like, "Shit, I have a chance," and so he started going wild. But we'll get to that. I can
We'll
talk
get to
about
it later.
seven all day, but
I know
I feel like Nicole played
she
like
did
if
play a good
Nicole
game.
won, she played a really good game. She failed in a social aspect, and she failed at owning her shit at the end.
Yeah, yeah,
And
agreed.
that really hurt her, and it's just because it makes you look hypocritical. They seen all your diary rooms at that point, especially then. They
Especially
seen all
then.
your diary rooms. They see all those side conversations that you had behind people's backs, and you changing your mind and betraying
You
somebody.
can't lie to people who know the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have to just
you
own it
can't.
and give it out and explain at least why you did it, or at least take the Dr. Will approach at least a little bit of apologizing and being like, I know I'm sorry I had to cut you, but there's a reason for it, and explaining your reason
Mhm.
for it.
Right,
There's a difference.
right. So yeah, we get to
Overall, it
the
was an
final.
okay season. It was so hard for me to get through because I liked the veto, but
We get to the don't forget the final speeches.
yeah.
Nicole doesn't say much, but Will gives his iconic reality speech where if you don't if you don't like reality television, maybe in fact you just don't like reality,
Yeah.
and that's something that's not. And you may blame me, but in reality, it's something your fault. It's your fault. It's what you don't like in yourself.
Yep. He
It's
pretty much
just
turned
like, what do
around
you
back. It's
say?
just this reverse psychology that he does in the sense of like, I don't want you to vote for me. You're going to vote for me because I just literally gave you the best option, like the best game and the best speech in the end.
Honestly, it probably
Nicole was so. I think also too. Nicole wanted to see her husband. She knew the end was near and all this was going to be over, and she was so ready to go back to
well,
normal life that you know what I mean. She wasn't thinking about how to win. She was thinking about it for how to be over.
look, Will knows TV, and that's what he did there. He
Yeah.
made TV,
Yep.
and that's what he set out to do, and he did TV. So we get to like reunion of everybody getting back in the house,
Yep.
and everybody's
Everyone comes
excited.
in and talks and stuff, and
hmm they're all hugging and stuff. Oh, I missed you, even though I don't like you. But
A group of 12 is too small, in my opinion, too.
for this time, it's fine. Like, can
Yeah.
you imagine there are 2 more weeks?
No.
So,
No.
see what
No.
I'm
No.
saying? So
No. No
we
double though, and no veto is really.
how did you like the eliminating one juror each?
It's pointless. I think it's pointless because
I agree.
someone's already you're automatically going to know at least one person who's not going to vote for you. So I mean, even if you get, but the other person's going to have at least one person too. So I
Hmm.
think it's pointless. There's a reason why they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I think it was a waste
Yeah,
of time. I think they do it for another like season or two, and then
yeah,
it just doesn't come back ever again.
no,
Uh, but yeah, they have to eliminate somebody. Nicole eliminates Shannon. No surprise. Like
no
who
surprise
else?
there. No,
Like it's Shannon or Boogie at that point.
yeah,
Then Will eliminates Bunky, which surprised me a little bit. But Hardy did lie in the
yeah,
jury question. He admitted that he said I was still playing the game, and then we got into the house. I don't know if you heard it, but his conversation with Nicole on the side, he said, "Don't worry, I'm not mad at you. I just did that so Will didn't eliminate my vote." And I don't know
dang,
if you didn't catch that. So
I
he
didn't catch
played.
that.
He was still playing the game, and he played for. And kudos to
Yep,
him because it caught Will. It got Will to eliminate somebody else's vote.
yep. In the end,
So
though, 5-2 is
mhm,
what that count was. When since
yeah.
they'd eliminated two players, Shannon
And,
and
and
Bunky's
if you
vote.
counted the other ones, it'd be 6-3.
6-3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's and some of the I like Monica's though at the end. She's like, Will, I respect you. You came in here, said you're gonna be who you're gonna be, and I love you for that.
Yep.
I voted for you. Congratulations.
Well, that's how she played. She came in the
Yeah.
house and she was exactly who she was outside the
Yeah.
house, and she respected Will because he didn't act any different. And I don't think Nicole did either in a sense, but Nicole, I feel like, was more of a people pleaser than Will was. So I think that Monica saw that.
Mhm. And look, like I said, Nicole's social game wasn't very good.
No.
She like with her outbursts, it turned people off. With
Yeah.
her
Nagging,
always constantly
nagging all
nagging,
season. Hmm.
angry all the time, like it turned
The whole
people off.
drama. She's a lot of drama.
Drama. So like that right there turned a lot of people off. And
Yeah.
now I think in the newer season she played the exact same way. I think she'd have way more respect in a newer season than she does
Yes.
that back then
I agree.
because
I
there'd
would
be more
agree.
savvier game players to see her game and
She's a lot
respect her
older now,
game more.
though. She'd be like 50
Yeah.
something
Well,
playing,
I
not
was just
like,
saying her game like if she was the same age and played this exact same game this season, people would respect it more
yeah.
than it
Yeah,
actually got
I
respected
agree.
back then.
Yes, I agree.
Um,
That's why the point I was making earlier is just like they're just not there. They're just
mhm.
not there in the sense of like understanding how this game works. Like you have to lie and you have to cheat. You know what I mean? You have to get
Uh,
yourself
mhm.
further, and then just you know what I mean. They just aren't
Yeah,
there yet.
we get an extra interview. It's pretty Will, and it's like, they literally ask Will, it's like, so are you gonna really like buy your friends gold chains and like buy jet skis? He's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna blow it.
Reminds me whenever Harry Potter, the actor that plays Ron Weasley, which is Rupert Grint,
Yeah.
he bought an ice cream truck when he got made
Hmm.
enough money off Harry Potter movies. He says the first thing he wanted to do when he had enough money was buy an ice cream truck, and he did.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Stupid dumb shit.
yeah, he pretty much says I'm just gonna blow it. And to be
Oh
fair,
yeah,
he's a doctor, so he's not
yeah.
hurting
He
for
doesn't
money.
need the money. He really doesn't need the money.
He's living a good life right now. So,
Honestly,
and
really.
Big Brother really, I mean, it helped, but it didn't. He was gonna be this
He was the
way
doctor too in
regardless.
LA, so like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he was gonna be fine. I do like the little questions they said of one word answered to people and stuff like that. That was fun, I
yeah, that
guess.
was cool.
You could definitely tell the tone was totally different after the season was over. Character got turned off a little bit. You could definitely tell he's one of those people that turns up for the camera. Dan
Yeah, and
Gieseling is this
he
too.
was a Big Brother staple for. He's not really so much now, but he was a Big Brother staple for a long time. He came back and did a lot of interviews, a lot of guest appearances.
Well, he
You know,
hosted the jury roundtable until recently,
mm-hmm,
and he was
mm-hmm.
on Big Brother 22 as well for
Yeah,
a cameo.
yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
he's still into it, but there's no way he ever play ever again.
Oh no, he's already said that he's not even
No,
in the community. He doesn't
I
even watch it. He doesn't even watch it anymore. Like he's over it. He's ready to be done with it.
uh
Yeah.
uh if what one time player from this season would you like to see play again?
From the season,
Hmm.
if age didn't count into it, probably Krista. Honestly,
I so you may think I'm crazy, but it'd be between Hardy or Nicole for me.
no, I don't think those are bad choices either. I think Hardy's a really bad player. I really don't want to see Hardy back there, but
I
I would
don't
like
think
to see
he's a
Nicole
bad
back.
player. I think he's just annoying character.
I don't think he's a good player though either.
I think he was like
Talk
the
about someone who
ugliest.
can't own their shit.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like if he got to the end and owned it, then he owned it. Then he didn't have to own it in the house.
But he didn't even own it outside the house.
Yeah, but I mean, he still played. Who played better than him? Will and Nicole. That's it.
Will and Nicole, yeah, but I don't think other people understand. Again, it's just like you
Okay,
can't
but
really
we're talking.
judge the
I'm talking
play.
about modern day play him them play modern day game. I feel like they'd play a really good modern
I don't
day
think Hardy
game.
would do good in modern day. I don't.
I think so. He probably still pretty. I don't know what he looks like, but
I don't know. Probably is.
he's probably somebody who take care of himself. So hopefully he doesn't have a bunch of Botox
Honestly,
like Dr. Will.
honestly. So that's it.
That's
We're
it. That's
done.
Big Brother 2.
Ah, thank God.
I love Big Brother 2. I
I
know.
don't mind Big Brother 2, but man, it just times was just dragging.
uh,
12
I just
people for
think
30 episodes is just not enough.
but it was fine. It was fine to me. It does feel a little slow at some points, but
Yeah.
I think I did think you're in a little negative Nancy a little bit.
Just didn't tickle my fancy as much as it does yours, I guess. I don't know.
I just think you're in survivor mode still.
No, I'm not, because I was watching Big Brother 13 on the side not even that long
Oh,
ago, and I loved it.
oh,
So
how did that tickle your fancy? The only
I
thing that's
love Big Brother
tickling
13.
is my finger to turn the
Big
channel.
Brother,
That's all it's
Big Brother
doing.
13 is like Survivor Gabon. It's
Ugh,
such a train wreck, and it's so fucking bad. It's good. Like, oh
ugh. We may have to go live and debate what we were arguing about
no,
earlier.
no. It's 9:30 at night, and I'm not trying to have people piss me off.
Like you pissed me off earlier. Jesus. No, okay, but that's it. We actually do have our host interview. We're gonna post that on our Facebook page and stuff like that. Here soon.
People said that if you didn't watch the feeds, it's going to be hard for you to enjoy Andy as a winner. I didn't watch the feeds of that season, so it makes sense. You
We
can
have
have
our
Jay on. Y'all can fucking stroke your Andy shit.
I don't know.
Then,
Is Jay a
okay?
big fan of him? I don't know.
Huh? Oh shit!
Is
We
Jay?
still recording?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! We gotta have to edit that part out. I just gave
Alright.
it away.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Um. Okay.
Sorry. Write it down.
No, you're fine. I'll just remember it's at the end of the video.
No.
Okay.
Fair.
But thank you guys for watching. I enjoyed Big Brother 2. Obviously Amanda is so with it.
I didn't hate it. It was just really predictable, and there's no veto.
It was not as predictable as she made it seem. We just watched Australian Outback and Borneo, and you're talking about predictability.
Borneo was
Okay,
great. We
Borneo
liked
was great.
Borneo. See,
Borneo
like
was
I feel
great.
like I don't want to be a negative Nancy in the sense of like, oh, I didn't like Australian Outback, and now I don't like Big Brother 2. Like that's not it at all. Now
All right,
listen, y'all are
we're
gonna hear
okay.
me
Out of the
bitch.
three seasons we watched, where would you rank the seasons?
Borneo first, then Big Brother 2, then Australian Outback. Yeah,
I would rank 2 Borneo Outback.
I love Borneo. Borneo was good, a good
Yes.
rewatch. I didn't
Oh,
expect.
when like this, we forgot to mention, but this helped Big Brother launch itself by having such a charismatic winner like
Yes,
Survivor Borneo. The winners for the first like real seasons of Big Brother, like the first season of Big Brother is not Big Brother.
no,
So, but this is the first real season of Big Brother. They and Survivor, they had 2 really good character winners
yes,
and very bigger, larger than life personalities,
that
which
helped
helped the
push
show.
that. Yes, push that fan base.
Yes.
That's why Australian Outback was such a record breaking
Hmm.
premiere and everything. I don't know how Big
Yes.
Brother 3 did. I don't know anything about Big Brother 3.
Oh, Big Brother 3 is great. Okay. But we're going to keep rambling on. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Keep following us. We're going to keep doing our Big Brother 23 updates.
Yep.
We probably won't start Africa until after. We may not start it until after Big Brother 23 is over. We haven't quite discussed it yet.
Yeah, so like this is what's gonna so this is like our schedule here coming up. So Amanda's going on vacation, so I will not be able to watch Big Brother for like a good week. So I
You mean
just so Frank's not lonely. We don't
yeah?
want Frank to be lonely. We're gonna have someone come on and help Frank podcast while I'm gone.
And
Now
then
I'm gonna be gone pretty much the 15th through the 28th, which is like almost 2 weeks.
and I will
So
be gone the 26th to the 29th, I believe, or something like that.
let's yeah, that's
So
that I'm gone too.
we'll be off for a week because we'll be on vacation. So
Yeah,
vacation is. But I will have a guest the week before with me talking about the
yes.
week. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe. Have a nice day. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.